Hey, what's up everyone? It's Georgio, your friendly neighborhood YouTuber, and I present to you all the brand new wrestling podcast coming to my channel called Beyond Wrestling, where we will be taking a look into wrestling's past, present, and future. And I just want to, share with you all my experiences of what made me love wrestling, which is going to be the title of this first episode, where we're going to talk about what made us love wrestling in the first place and how can we get that style of wrestling back and what promotions are doing it better, and mainly, y'all, I want to just talk about like the old school stuff. I will be touching on some of the newer school things that are be going on in wrestling currently today. Just want this to be a great atmosphere for fans that love wrestling, the good kind, and we can share memories of our favorite wrestlers, favorite storylines, favorite feuds, favorite characters. The true essence of what made wrestling, famous back in the 90s, even the 80s, 80s was real big too, but the 90s was when wrestling, I feel like it was at the pinnacle of what, of entertainment. Everybody was watching it, it was up there with football, it was up there with basketball still, even though football still did big ratings, and even today, but still wrestling held its own. They were having 5.0 ratings. I think I heard something about that getting 8.0. I don't know if that's entirely true. Some of y'all can let me know. But yeah, it was such a great time, especially as a kid, because I remember on recess, after Monday Night Raw or WCW went off that night, then the next day at school at recess, we would talk about the show, what we liked, and how would we react if we was the wrestlers in those particular, situations and stuff, and we would even try to reenact some of the matches, which I know probably isn't the best idea as a kid, especially on recess at school, but we were always safe and we always fake hit each other. And one thing I have to say is, there's the thing that I've always dealt with being a wrestling fan growing up, and even to this day, is the whole wrestling is fake thing. And I don't know, I think maybe that'll be a good discussion for another video, but you know what, why not talk about it here? This is the first episode and we want this to be great. And the thing is, wrestling is no more fake than your live action TV shows that you watch on Netflix. Even the movies, they play characters just like wrestlers do. The thing is, wrestlers, pretty much all of them, they do their own moves and they can seriously get hurt, and they do get hurt. All that stuff hurts in that ring. Yes, the characters are fake. Yes, the storylines are fake. Some of them do be real, because some of them wrestlers really do not like each other. At least back in the 80s and the 90s, wrestlers, there was some wrestlers that just legit wanted to beat the hell out of each other because they really couldn't stand each other, which made for great feuds. And I wish wrestling had some of that realism, that made people really enjoy it. But as I said, the moves hurt. They do get injured, and wrestlers don't have off days like NFL or basketball or any of those people. Wrestlers, they have to keep going. It's a year-round thing, and and that's the good thing about it, because when the TV shows, the wrestling shows are good, you want it to be year-round. So yeah, wrestling was just that great of a product back then. And I used to love watching Ric Flair when he was the president of WCW. That was some really good stuff. I know Ric Flair, he's better as a heel. He still kind of was, but he was treading into the babyface territory. But you guys, if you have the WWE Network or whatever, go and check that out. You know, that is some good quality stuff right there. You know, the Mid-South wrestling stuff. I will say though, maybe some of those matches weren't the best, but the really big stars like Flair, Steamboat, you know, Sting, Dusty, you know, those guys had great stories, great characters, great build-ups. And that's what made you want to tune in, you know, to see what crazy thing Ric Flair would do. You know, if you want to see Sting win the World Championship, you know, they did some great ways of telling those stories that I feel like some of that is lost. NXT is still doing some really good wrestling now. I'm not gonna lie, they do some good stuff. But you know, for me, I was a huge WCW guy. I did watch Raw, like I said, because we had to. You know, as a kid, I mean, if you missed out on Raw, man, that was like, man, you really was left out. You know. But I love tuning in to Nitro to see what Goldberg was gonna do, who he's gonna destroy. You know, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, them, you know, with the NWO. Yeah, they had a lot of members in that faction, but they did make the TV very entertaining. You know, I enjoyed it. And then the Crow Sting, you know, that was some good stuff because you didn't know when he was gonna show up. You didn't know whose side he was gonna be on either, you know. And I just love that character, you know. And I think at the end of the day, while we like some cool moves and everything in the ring, what really makes wrestling memorable is the storylines and the characters. And that's why a lot of people regard the Attitude Era, the early 90s, the 80s as one of their favorite eras and times in wrestling, is because of what those characters brought. Those characters made us feel emotionally invested. And to me, that is what makes wrestling lovable. And and we do have other promotions, especially on the indies, that are restoring that love for what wrestling used to be, and I'm happy about that. And like I said, I didn't want to dive too much into everything, but I had to share with you guys what made me like it. I even had the pleasure of meeting some of these really cool wrestlers like Ric Flair and Batista, Triple H, and all of them, and such great times. And I'm gonna share with you guys one more big memory in this whole little episode. And if you guys want me to do a separate episode like on the Attitude Era, or talk about your favorite, some great moments from the Attitude Era, let me know what you want me to talk about from that particular time period, and we will make it happen. Or the WCW time. Thing I wanted to tell you guys about was my first wrestling match that I ever saw, which made me a fan of wrestling, and it was the Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker in Hell in a Cell. I know that I've told you guys about this briefly, like for those on my Instagram or in the Hell in a Cell review that I did recently on this channel. Well, that was the first match I saw. It was back in 1997. I was 7 years old. Wow, my dad was like, you should check this out. And as a kid, I was like, no, I don't want to watch that, because I just knew something crazy and evilish was gonna happen in that match. Before I even watched it, I just knew that it was gonna be some gangster shit that was about to go down on there. You know, at the time, you know, Shawn Michaels was a heel, Undertaker was a babyface, which in that babyface is the good guy character, or you know, the one that we're supposed to like. And then Shawn Michaels was the heel, which is of course the bad guy, you know, the one that we just want to see get the hell beat out of, because we don't like the evil characters. But at the time, I was cheering for Shawn Michaels because of how badly he got the hell beat out of him by The Undertaker. I was like, dang, what's going on? Why is this man beating up Shawn Michaels like that? And of course, you know, as I gotten older and I started to learn what wrestling was all about, I realized that hell, Shawn, he definitely kind of deserved that because he did some crazy things to The Undertaker and other wrestlers in character, by the way, which kind of led to him being locked inside the Hell in a Cell so that he couldn't run away from him getting what was due to him. And it made for such a great story. I was scared for him. I was like, and you know what? Like, after that match, I didn't watch wrestling for quite a while. I don't think I watched wrestling again until maybe a year later after that match. That Hell in a Cell match happened in October, I believe, at Bad Blood. And, you know, back then, Hell in a Cell matches really meant something. Those kind of matches in general meant something because it was the culmination of this huge feud that had been going on for a couple of months. And I want wrestling to be like that because that's what made people love wrestling, you know. And both Shawn and Undertaker, they gave their all in that match, and I feel like that is a Hell in a Cell match that does not get talked about enough. And also there was a spot in the match where Shawn beat up the cameraman. At the time, I thought that was real, and I've always wanted to know, like, you know, I thought that was just the craziest thing ever. But I don't know if that was a part of the storyline or not. But that match really gravitated towards me. I was emotionally invested. And literally, after some time away from it, I went back to it. And I was like, you know what? I like this. Then I started watching WCW. And I was seeing what Scott Hall them was doing. Goldberg and the cruiserweights like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. I was seeing what all of those guys were doing. Those moves were crazy. You know, WCW was just so hyped. You know, I loved the intro that they had, the pyro, the Nitro girls. I mean, you know, they had some high quality matches. They had one of the best in-ring announcers that I've heard, you know, was Bruce Buffer, which I know he's a boxer announcer, but Bruce Buffer, man, he add that extra intensity and excitement to a match. As if the match didn't already have us hyped to begin with, he added that extra element to take it to the next level. And you know, he was such a great, you know, Bruce Buffer alone. I think he should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. You know, but he was a big part of my childhood. Him, Gene Okerlund. I love Ric Flair when he would cut promos and he'll say Mean Gene and all that stuff or whatever. Or, you know, just those kind of moments that made me love wrestling. And so I'm going to just cut it off right here. I didn't want this to be too long since this is just the first episode. But guys, let me know what made you fall in love with wrestling. You know, what character, what moment was it that made you fall in love with wrestling? And we can discuss it more in the comment section. And like I said, give me some more ideas of what you want me to discuss, and we can talk about it, and I can put it up in the next episode. I'm thinking about putting these out every Monday and Thursday, unless there's another day that y'all want me to pick besides just Monday and Thursday. But, you know, maybe 3 days a week. But I just wanted to see how this all goes. But thank you for your free time. Thank you for listening. Share this with your friends and family on your social media so we can get this out there and make this big. And I love every last one of you guys. Have a very blessed day, and I will see you next time. Peace out.